Happy New Year, Steeler Nation, and welcome to your Steeler Nation podcast, part of the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network and sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, Stryker, and today, on New Year's Eve, it's time for some New Year's resolutions for our Pittsburgh Steelers. First resolution I'm asking for goes out to Mike Tomlin. I'm actually going to give you two, Tomlin. First one, put the best players on the field. No more holding back. No more keeping the vets in there because they're the guys that have been with you the longest. Time to make sure we get the players on the field that can make the plays. If somebody's banged up, if somebody isn't reaching the snuff, they need to be replaced and put on the field to give this team the best chance of winning. Number two for you, Tomlin, go for it, baby. This is our last chance. If the Steelers want a chance to make the playoffs, which is slim at this time, they got to win their next two games, which means they have to win all of their short yardage situations. Fourth and short, we're going for it. Third and short, you got to act like, hey, we're going to have two plays to get this first down. And maybe even when we score touchdowns, we might have to start thinking about going for two every time. These are the types of things that are going to help the Steelers get the best chance of creating more plays to get these first downs, extend their drives, and hopefully end in touchdowns, because these last few weeks they've had trouble doing so. Matt Canada, I'm coming to you next. Your New Year's resolution, Matt Canada, give the play calling to Ben. This is it. Ben's last couple games, he knows how to play in this league. Let him run the show. Let him figure out who's getting the ball and when, and just finish out this year on Ben's play calling. Take it back in the easy chair, give him some suggestions, but you don't have to call plays for these next two games, Matt. Give the play calling to Ben. Next New Year's resolution goes out to Devin Bush. Play with purpose. We know you've got the talent. We know you're starting to come back and get a little bit healthier. You're starting to move around a little bit better. Play with purpose like you did as a rookie, starting in this league, hitting the hole hard, anticipating plays, knowing where plays were going before the other team got there. That's what we need out of you, Devin. We need you to be that playmaker that we've been waiting for in that center since your rookie season. Do it. Terrell Edmonds, close to you too. Attack the play, Terrell. I like that you're hitting the hole. I just don't like that the hole is hitting you backwards when you're trying to make tackles. I like that you're making a lot of tackles, but I don't like it that you're watching the catches occur in front of you and then you're tackling. It's time to attack the play. Play that ball in the air. Hit that receiver when the ball is getting there. Make the plays that make a difference in the game as opposed to just being safe haven Edmonds. Make the big plays. We need you to make the big plays. And now is your time to do it. Joe Hayden, I've got one for you, my friend. You've missed the last two games against your former team, the Cleveland Browns, with the COVID last season. This year, since you failed to play in those last two games, you've got 3 games worth of plays to make up in this one game. I expect a lot of big plays out of you. Excellent tackle to win the game for us 2 games ago against Tennessee, but I want to see you with interceptions. Heck, take one to the house. This is your old team. You need to set the standard for the Steelers to say, hey, look, guys, we're playing my old team, and now I need to step up. We all need you to step up. Make those plays, Joe. We know you can do it. Najee, I got one for you, buddy. This one's easy. Get 16 yards rushing. That will put you at 1,000 yards. Heck, it's insane watching Najee Harris this season run into a brick wall all year, yet he's like 5th in rushing in the league. He's been doing it on his own without a line to open up holes for him. If we get some openings next year or figure out a way to block to get him the second level this year, the kid's going to make plays. And heck, if you can find a way to get 71 yards, Najee, you break the rookie record for Pittsburgh Steelers from the other Harris, Franco Harris, back in 1972, immaculate reception year. Najee, your chance to go out there and make your play and your statement on this team. If you get 71 total yards, you got 2 games to do it. Ben, Last resolution is for you, my friend. Save the best for last. Play like it's your last game. It just may be. You've already started telling everybody, hey, this is my last home game. It might be. I mean, there's a scenario that you could get one more home game. That is if the Steelers win out next 2 games and the Bengals lose their next 2 games. Steelers win the division. Steelers still have a chance to win this division. If they do so, Ben gets another home game. But in all probability, if the Steelers make the playoffs, it's going to be as a wild card. But Ben, play like this is your last game. Leave nothing on the field. You've got nothing else to lose other than the game. Do all you can to try to win this game, and hopefully you're calling the plays for us too. One thing I wanted to talk about too is the NFL has just came out with the finalists for the Hall of Fame class for 2021, and I am very upset that Hines Ward did not make this class because, in my opinion, he stacked up very well against the other wide receivers in this class. The ones that ended up making it, Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, and Johnson, those 3 made it over him. Now let's look at their numbers a bit. Wayne had more catches, 70 more catches. He had more yardage, about 2,000. Didn't have as many touchdowns. Holt, less catches, 80 less catches, had more yards, about 1,000 more yards, less touchdowns than Ward. Johnson, 62 more catches, 2,000 more yards, 16 less touchdowns than Ward. None of them won 2 Super Bowls. None of them won a Super Bowl MVP. And those guys are being put in as finalists for this season. And I think it's a travesty that Ward is not on this list when he's the only wide receiver on this list that wasn't in a passing first offense. Johnson, you might even be able to argue because they did have a couple of rush heavy years with that unrestricted free agent rookie running back that did really well for them for a few years. I don't recall the name. I didn't look it up. But that is the guy who was making the most out of the limited amount of touches he got. A young rookie quarterback, an early quarterback with Ben Roethlisberger, and playing at the end of the careers for Cordell Stewart et al. Until Maddox as well, until we got Ben in there and moving for them. So Ward was snubbed. I think this was his best chance of getting in this year, especially with him leading every single other receiver that was even mentioned as being a possible candidate this year with his 86 touchdowns. Smith had 83. Bolden had 83. Johnson, who made it, had 70. Holt had 72. Wayne had 80. Because the closest would have been Bolden and Smith, but both of them got snubbed as well. Sure, Smith will eventually get in as well. Bolden, I love his hard-nosed play as well. All good players, but this year was definitely one that I am upset that Ward did not take the next step to being a finalist. And guys, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Ben came out and said it. It's his last home game. Now, that is something that I like to hear as a Steeler fan. Yeah, we're the home dogs this week to our brothers from up north, up county, Cleveland. But hey, we love playing Cleveland. We love playing Cleveland at home. And Tomlin loves playing on Monday night. Ben's already told all of his former players that played with him, all his former teammates, come see me play in my last game. He's got the kids in the stand. The family's been watching games all year. That's how we know it's his last year. Come over, watch him play his last game. This is going to be a huge game out of the box. This team is going to be jazzed to play in this football game. Winning one for Ben, this is how you do it. This is the one that you need to do it for. And Ben has a little extra. He always loves beating the Browns. Why? Because they passed on him in the draft for Kellen Winslow Jr. Sure, your dad might have been a Hall of Famer for them, but man, You didn't do too well in a parking lot on a motorcycle, and unfortunately, you're not in the league. Ben is. Ben's a Hall of Famer. And yes, that was dumb not to pick him. Guys, smart money's on Steelers. Steelers with the points, take it all the way to the bank, because I think this is a game they're going to win this week. Tomlin primetime, Ben at home, Ben's last game. There's so much emotion going into this game. He hates top rival for Ben, for a team that passed him in the draft, was he was expecting them to take him from his home state. They didn't do it. Ben, go out there, hit that run and shoot. Hit that no huddle. Do it all up. Can't wait to see you play in your last game. I will be in the stands for that and can't wait to see it. I'll be cheering you along with all the Steeler faithful and Steeler Nation right there making the journey to that football game. Kudos to Najee Harris for the new rookie catch record. The new rookie catch records have been dropping like flies since 2017. We've been having basically a new rookie record each year. In 2017, Juju tied Troy Edwards at 58 for rookie catches. Then 2 years later, DJ comes on the scene, 59 catches. That's one more than you guys. Hold my beer, hold my maple syrup, says Claypool in 2020, 62 catches, 3 more than DJ. And then this year, Harris, already at 67 catches and counting. He has 2 more games to pile on the catches, and he's seeing 5-6 a game. He's going to add to that pretty well if he's playing in these last couple games. Love seeing you play, Harris. Keep it going, man. Keep the records coming. I want to see you with the rookie rushing record for the Steelers to go along with this rookie catch record, which you already own outright. Way to go, guys. Injury situation, as always, it's shifting. COVID-wise, we know we got back Marcus Allen. We know we just lost Mallet. Still have a chance to get back Banner. Still have a chance to get back Bush. Got to find out, though. We will find out in these next either sometime today or sometime on Saturday or Sunday, because the game's on Monday. We got some time to get these guys back in. I fully expect Banner and Bush to both clear because both of them will be at 10 days. So if they were unvaccinated, I think 10th day is either Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, Saturday. It would be Saturday, I believe. Friday or Saturday. Saturday. And so I expect them to be back by Saturday. Both of them. Playing in the game. Here we go, guys. Get everybody back and healthy and ready to go. Losing Arthur Mallet hurt a little bit because we're not going to have his playmaking ability. Going to need Norwood to step up. Going to need Sutton to help out too, and down there in the slot. Maybe Marcus Allen coming back to play some money backer as well. On the injury front, the rest of the team from the game, Kendrick Green, who hurt his calf, did not practice, did not get his eligibility before this podcast today, but hopefully he plays today. We'll have to see. Buddy Johnson did not practice on Thursday with the foot injury. Not a big proponent in the game. He's usually inactive. Doesn't really matter. Nice to see Pat getting back in his first practice as a full practice after missing all of last week. Second concussion is never good for anybody, let alone a rookie. Come back slowly. He makes it as a full practice on Friday. He is in for good. He is off concussion protocol. Ben Roethlisberger took a day off. I expect him full well to be playing when he's telling everybody he's going to be there. Bank on it. He's playing. Chris Wormley returned to practice. Great sign since he missed the last game. TJ Watt's going to play no matter what with those cracked ribs, but he's got to play through the pain. And hopefully he can put together a couple more sacks, get a couple more splash plays, and solidify that Defensive Player of the Year moniker that he deserves this year. I think he's going to have to win us one more game to get it, though. Trey Turner, who was injured in the previous game, has not been listed as having issues in practice, was mentioned in the presser with Tomlin, but since he is not mentioned at all in the practice reports, I'm saying he's in. He is green. That knee is not an issue. He will be playing this Monday night. So Steelers are looking relatively healthy. Only people up in the air right now, Kendrick Green with his calf, Freiermuth with his concussion protocol, though I fully expect him to return, and Devin Bush on COVID protocol, which I also expect to return. So we're looking at a full complement of players coming into the game against the hated Cleveland Browns. So now, Steeler Nation, we have reached the time of the podcast where we take our questions from Steeler Nation over at SteelerNation.com in the football forum. Be sure to jump on, ask questions. We ask for questions every week, and we take them directly from our football forum. So if you want to be part of this fun aspect, go to SteelerNation.com, log in for free, have fun with the guys and gals over there at SteelerNation.com, and be sure to ask some questions in the football forum. First question coming in from /Steel. Rooney reaches out to you and tells you you can replace one person, the GM or the head coach. Which would it be and why? I have an answer for this. I don't know if it's the popular answer, but it's the one I'm going to give, and I'll tell you why. I would replace the GM. I would replace the GM, Kevin Colbert, because he's on a year-to-year contract. He wanted to be the GM through Ben's career. It looks like he may make this decision for us this season, but of course, when he decides to leave the team, he is done after the draft. That is when his job is over as GM for the Steelers for his year-to-year contract, and that is why I take him over Tomlin, though a lot of people are calling for Tomlin's head right now. I am not one of them. Paul G., is there any facet of the Steelers team that could be deemed as a success this year? Yes. A couple things that are successes this year. Number one, Steelers finally found a replacement for tight end Heath Miller. The guy is Pat Freiermuth. This guy can play football. He's the type of sure-handed receiver. We're going to build around whoever our next quarterback's going to be for that short passing option safety valve to help out whoever is coming out down the field. We never had a replacement for Ben. I think that might be one of our reasons why we never went back to a Super Bowl. Now that I'm thinking about it, we've had replacement players the entire way trying to get big name vets. A lot of them didn't pan out. Had a couple good years there with Vance McDonald, but still he wasn't a go-to guy. He'd make some big plays, but he still wasn't the go-to. Nobody was like Heath Miller. To block, always sure-handed, could make big plays, always reached up in traffic. Great guy to watch. Great guy. And now we've got another player like that in Pat Freiermuth. I'd also extend that for the other rookie, Najee Harris, man. This is the running back for the future. He's a team leader. He lives, breathes, and eats football 24/7. This guy wants to be the best, and he wants everybody around him to be the best that they can be. This is the type of running back you build your team around. And when we don't have a quarterback going into next season, we are building this team to run next year. I don't care if we draft a quarterback next year, guys. Draft linemen. Linemen. Offensive line, defensive line. Doesn't matter. Get back to the trenches. We got to win the trenches. We got position and skill players all over the place. Let's get the trenches back in Pittsburgh to be the toughest places to move people. And we will be back as perennials in the playoffs yet again. Another question here from Paulie G. How should the seat be under Tomlin, Butler, and Canada after witnessing the abysmal efforts in recent games? As a whole, I can't really fault any of them, to tell you the truth. It's a young team, 6 rookies, now 7. Loudermilk started a game. You had 7 rookies start this year. That usually doesn't happen every year. We thought it was because of great drafting. Turns out this might be a rebuilding year. I'll get into that a little bit later, but that is why I can't really force Canada. Canada's also being forced to play with Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger is not an old dog, new tricks guy. I saw more out of his offense in the preseason than I did out of the regular season. And when Rudolph came on the field, he moved the ball pretty well in that one drive. It's more made for these newer quarterbacks that are a little bit more pocket mobile and that can do a little bit more of the RPO than Ben can. That's what I want to see out of a Canada offense. And we are going to get that next year, no matter who our quarterback is going to be. So, next question from Paul G. Why is Ben and Najee playing in the latter half of the fourth quarter in Kansas City? Would it not be prudent to get Rudolph, Snell, Balaj more touches? Yeah, we got Rudolph in there a little bit. Yeah, we got Snell and Balaj. I went backwards on that. Snell and Balaj. I mean, Snell and Balaj are vets. I'd rather have a rookie get the touches. To me, like, bench and Najee does nothing. If you don't make the playoffs, doesn't matter. If he gets banged up, hurt, doesn't matter. He's a rookie. You want to get him the touches. You want him to go a full 16. And he's not playing like a rookie. He didn't hit the rookie wall. This guy was strong last week with 90-some yards rushing. I expect him to be strong this week and next week as well. Cooley, man! Which coaches would you actually like to see return next season? I'm fine with everybody returning, to tell you the truth. Butler, I don't know how much of a defensive coordinator he is. Could we get an upgrade there? We probably could. I always wanted Greg Williams in there at defensive coordinator. I love his mindset and his scheming and his attacking. Though Butler, he always has us up around the league lead in sacks every year. That's something that you can't fault as well. But as far as for everything else, aside from Hines Ward being the receivers coach, there isn't really anything else that I want to see. I always wanted Hines to come back to this team. Ike Hilliard's doing a fine job, but I'd love to see Hines come back, especially to shut up those damn divas, because Hines did it the hard-nosed way. Sure, he held out, but he came back to negotiate because they wouldn't negotiate while he held out. Bettis told him to come back. He came back, and they gave him the new contract, and he ended up being honestly, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to make the Hall of Fame one day, just not this year, sadly. Zoneberg, nice talking to you, my friend. Will taking away the ping pong tables be enough this time? Hell no. Hell, it seems like I'm watching ping pong when I'm watching the Steelers in the first half this year with my neck craning back and forth, watching the opposing team's offense move it up and down the field. That is the ping pong I don't want to see anymore out of this team. But I know what you're getting at. Yes, that was the old thing where they took the ping pong tables out. I think that's 2017. It's time to bear down. And unfortunately, the injuries kind of derailed the Shazier year that year, but the offense was still doing pretty well for us. Warriors 42. How is the quarterback position going to be addressed in 2022? Any chance Ben plays another year? Zero chance of him playing another year, Warriors. I've been saying it all year, especially starting at the beginning of the year when he chose to take a pay cut to $19 million. There is no chance that a quarterback is expecting to come back in this league if they take a pay cut that big, because you have set your number being $19 million when you should be being paid $30 million a year. That's it. That was the writing on the wall. Ben finally came out and said, this is my last home game. So no, I am saying he is not returning. As far as what are they going to do? Could they draft a quarterback? Sure. Could they pick up a quarterback in free agency? Sure. Could they figure out a way to get Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay or Wilson from Seattle? Yeah, because they're in contract years. Their contract is still set for another couple years, but these are their contract years within. It's a good year for each of their teams to be able to drop them with minimal cap hit, because it's the way that they are written into the contracts. And plus, these quarterbacks look like they're trying to force the hands of their teams with a little at-home disgruntledness. A lot of it this year in the preseason, even leading up to the game with Ben, even though they're still competing for that one seed out there in the NFC. Guy's not going to be happy. If he's not happy with it when he's winning, he needs a change of scenery, and Pittsburgh would be an excellent change of scenery for Rodgers. I just don't know if Rodgers is a team guy. I personally like Wilson. I think he can make every play, and I think he's one of the smartest quarterbacks in this league. And with the playmakers that we have, would be nice to see, but we need to get that offensive line around him too. Next question. Mad Insomniac. Who's better, TJ Watt with broken ribs or Highsmith healthy? TJ Watt with broken ribs. Next question. How much is Baker going to get next contract? 20 mil per season, 30 infinity? Question mark. The industry standard is there, Matt. And if you got a franchise quarterback, it's between 35 and 45 mil. So if the Browns believe Baker Mayfield is a franchise quarterback. He will be making between 35 and 45 million per year. And I would love for him to be making that much, eating up that much salary each year, to be able to limit their ability to grow in free agency. But they have been drafting well, so I can't fault them for that. They've got good players on the roster that have been drafted, and they built through the draft. So that's what they're going to have to continue to do if they commit that kind of money to Baker. If they say you're a $20 million a year guy, he's going to be a free agent. He is not going to sign it because he will make more than that on the open market. Somebody's going to pay him 35 to 45 mil a year. And I'm hoping it's the Cleveland Browns. Otherwise, who's it going to be? We'll see. Yeah, Cleveland's always smart. We finally found a quarterback that can get us to the playoffs. Let's get rid of him. See how we do. Yeah, how's that always work out for you? Next question from Matt Insomniac. Who is your money on to be the coordinators next season? I've talked about this a couple times. I don't think there's going to be a change. Polamalu Fan Forever 43. Who do you blame most for us becoming a finesse team and losing our identity for the last decade? What is the identity that you're talking about, Polamalu Fan Forever? Because the Steelers' identity is always winning. The Steelers win even through rebuilding years. This is a rebuilding year. Don't fool yourself. 7 rookies have started this season. 6 rookies started week 1. This is a rebuilding year. As much as we want to lie to ourselves and say it's not, it is. And the Steelers are still finding ways to win during a rebuilding year. And Ben, it's at the end of his career. Yeah, that's kind of tough, but our identity was pretty damn good on offense a lot of those years too. We were in the top 3 in offense when we were under Randy Fichtner. Or not Fichtner, guy before him. Drew a blank. The guy with the dark hair always got in trouble in the bar scene and everything, the old coach. But either way, that guy had our passing attack, quick passing attack, bubble screens, sure. Finesse is getting us up and down the field, leading the top years ever for the Steelers in scoring. That's kind of your identity. We became an offensive team over defense. We had to rebuild the defense. We started rebuilding it. Injuries always kind of equalize the things that you're trying to do at the end of the season. That's why you want your injuries early in the season as opposed to the end of the season. How many times has a Tomlin team been on the last team out in the playoffs? Has to be often, and this comes from our friend. Dang it! I'm sorry I didn't pull your name off of this one, but I freaking know you ask me questions all the damn time. But I know you did the research for yourself, and you said in 2019 we were 9-7, the 8th seed. Final team made it in at 9-7 as well. 2012 we were the 7th seed. Final playoff team made it in as 10-6. 2013, we were the 7th seed. 2018, 7th seed. 2019, 7th seed. And then, so you basically state that Tomlin was a failure for finishing 7th place, 8th place in those years. Though, if we were under the rules that we played now, where the 7th team is in the playoffs, 4 of those teams make the playoffs, only 1 doesn't. I looked at his whole record. There's only 3 times ever Tomlin would have missed the playoffs if they had 7 teams in the playoffs. Only 3. So that's a pretty good, for a guy that's been tenured for 16 years, that's a pretty good tenured stat. And the last question coming from the dude abides, who are the Steelers? After all these years, what is Tomlin's team personality supposed to be? And for me, his identity is he creates stability within the organization. He has teams play into the standard, is the standard, next man up. The Steelers do a pretty decent job of next man up. The tough time gets to when the next man up is the 4th or 5th guy they've had to call up. That's when it starts getting dropped. That's why our defensive line is having trouble stopping first downs, any running play now, because Cam Hayward is your only starter. You're already through. You already lost a starter on the line in Alualu. You lost a starter on the line in Tuitt. Lost a starter on the line with Wormley when he was out. So you're having rookies out there playing. You're having guys that were poaching off of practice squads out there playing. Tough to do that. But this team does buy in, and they don't give up on their team. This team does not implode when we lose like our fan base does. This team doesn't implode. Sure, we had some locker room issues with AB and Bell, but those were learning experiences. Those made it so the Steelers don't hang on to people to be an issue. Melvin Ingram, see ya. I'm sorry you guys being upset that we got rid of Melvin Ingram, but he didn't want to stay on the team. He didn't travel with the team. He was having groin injuries the week before the trade deadline. Dude wanted out. We got a draft pick for him, and that's all that matters. So don't let the door hit you on the butt. I'm glad that you're getting some playing time over in KC, because you sure as heck weren't getting as much here until the guys started getting banged up on our side. But you never know how that's going to go. And at least at that time, there was zero chance of him wanting to be a team player, because he decided not to be. And that is all the time we have today on the Steeler Nation podcast. Be sure to visit our sponsor over at tseshop.com. All the great stuff you want to see for Pittsburgh sports, memorabilia, signed items, fun stuff, games, apparel. tseshop.com is the place to go. Be sure to join us on the vidcast on Monday or Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Steeler Nation. Check out great Pittsburgh sports content at dkpittsburghsports.com and read our great Pittsburgh Steeler focused articles at SteelerNation.com. Tweet us at Steeler Nation. Instagram us at SteelerNation.com. Follow the Steeler Nation podcast on Twitter at _SN Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Steeler Nation Podcast, or follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SN Stryker, spelled with a Y. Thanks for joining us for the SteelerNation.com podcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, part of the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. Looking forward to meeting all you guys this weekend on Sunday at the team dinner. We'll see you all then. But until that time, I'm your host, G. Stryker, rooting along with you as always. Go